and welcome to the Art by Row channel. I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this channel as well as artbyrow.com, where you can find over 200 art and drawing tutorials. Today we're going to be drawing graffiti bubble letters, and this is a method you can use for any letter of the alphabet and any word you might want to create. So it's pretty easy to follow along, so I like to say that it's good for beginners. And if you are interested in learning more about making your own style graffiti art, check out the description box. We have a course in there. It's called Your Graffiti Art, and it's where you learn how to make graffiti art in your own style. So go ahead and check that out, and there's also some free resources in there as well. Now let's go ahead and go on over to the art studio. Okay, let's do some graffiti style bubble letters today. So I just have a big piece of copy paper that I use for drawings that I have left over from years ago. It's just kind of a heavyweight, bright white copy paper. The paper doesn't really matter. That's just what I'm using today. Any kind of paper will work. So today what I want to show you is a technique for drawing letters, and it doesn't really matter if it's graffiti letter, block letter, bubble letters, it doesn't really matter, but a way to use some basic guides to help structure your letters and to get you started instead of just doing the letter itself and trying to get everything so it works out perfect and messing up and giving up and all those sorts of things. So it helps with a lot of different things. So this can be used for any style letter in any letter of the alphabet. And numbers too, I guess. I don't do a lot of numbers, but it would work the same. So say you wanted to do the letter M. If you do your basic shape of your letter M, so the first thing this does is it gets us to start putting marks on the paper. And there's something that people often refer to as the blank page syndrome or the blank canvas syndrome. And that just means that you're staring at that blank piece of paper, that blank canvas, and you kind of freeze and can't seem to get started. This helps with that. So this is our basic structure of our letter. And then from there, we can start drawing out or sketching out how we want our letters to go. And it doesn't matter where you start, but this is going to be the middle. I'm going to go on both sides of it. So I can come down here, and this is going to be a bubble letter, so we want things to be a more, have more curved, rounded edges. We don't want to have a bunch of pointed, sharp edges on it if it's a bubble letter. So we're going to bring this one down into here, and we can change this. You know, we can modify it however we need to. Then this one, I'm going to bring up a little bit higher. Bring it off to the side. This one's going to come down. I'm going to bring it kind of close to this. And these are just personal preferences. You can leave more of a gap here if you want to. That's up to you. Now, this is obviously just one way of doing your lettering. If you feel comfortable just drawing the letter outright and not building it off of that inside structure, that's fine. This is for those of you who are struggling to do your letters because you don't have that skill set or the confidence to just draw the letter without anything to reference off of or to guide you. And then, of course, you would erase this inside these extra lines. And then you're left with your letter. And you can do this with any letter, it doesn't matter. You could do, so the letter I, pretty basic, you have a line with a dot at the top. So you would do the same thing, start sketching out your letter around it. So one of the things with graffiti lettering is that you typically will have these different thicknesses, these widths. So instead of like a typical bubble letter, your I might be just like your I would just be just a plain, you know, nothing fancy, where with the graffiti style bubble letters, you're going to have things like the different parts of the letters will be touching. You'll have where this is wider at the top and this is narrower at the bottom. And the other thing I like about using the structure of the letter as a guide is that you can come up with any style lettering that you want to use. And it doesn't matter if graffiti's not really your thing, that style letter isn't your thing. You could do something between a graffiti style lettering and just a simple bubble letter style. So you can really modify things and come up with your own lettering style. So there's a couple examples of individual letters, and then let's look at how to put it together to form a word to do a finished piece of art. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to do the word art. Keep it simple, 3 letters. I can make them nice and big on here, and then just figure out something to do for the background. So what I'm working on is I just took a piece of cardstock and I cut it in half. So I have just a half sheet of paper that I'm working on. I know I want 3 letters on here. And one of the decisions that you need to make with your lettering is how you want them to overlap. Oftentimes I'll start with wherever the center is of my letter. So if I have 3 letters in my word, the middle one will be the second letter. So in this case, it's going to be A-R-T. The R is going to be my center point. Oftentimes, I will begin with that middle letter and then overlap that one with the other 2 where they'll be slightly covered. One of the things that determines how you overlap your letters is what parts of the letters need to be visible to make it easier to read. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to do my basic guides to lay out where I want my letters to be, and then build off of there like I showed you in that previous step. And you can do uppercase letters, you can do lowercase letters. I'm just trying to get myself an idea of where each letter is going to be positioned, and then I'm going to work around those letters. And typically what I'll do is what's called drawing through. So even though some of this is going to be erased, I can still draw every part of both letters, and then I can decide which pieces to erase and which pieces to leave there. So since I'm just repeating the same process that I showed you earlier and I explained it there, I'm going to go ahead and do this as a time lapse, and I will be back when I have these letters finished. I finished my letters. I have everything drawn out. For these ones, I ended up not really drawing through them because I knew kind of how I wanted it to look. But what I mean by drawing through is you would bring this A all the way around, even though this part's not going to be visible. And then you would just erase what you don't want. But either way is fine. Sometimes it's easier to draw the whole thing, so you're not starting and stopping and trying to line things up. Sometimes it'll look weird, where if you draw the whole thing, it ties it all together a little bit better. So the next thing I want to do is outline my lettering. And typically what I like to use is the Sharpie pen. The lines are a lot crisper, but they're thinner. So in order to get a nice thick outline with this, you have to go over it a bunch of times, which is typically what I do. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use a marker, a black marker, and I'm using the bullet point end of the marker. So obviously all you're going to do is just trace over top of your pencil lines that you want to keep. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back when I finish that. So that's it for the outlines. And then you can just take a big block eraser. I just happen to have this one. You could use a pink pearl eraser. Whatever you have, it doesn't really matter. I'll typically wait until I have my outline finished, and then I'll erase everything and clean it up. It's just easier to go over the entire drawing than to try to do little pieces at a time. So that is it. There's the finished bubble letter drawing of how to put your letters together to make a word for your graffiti art or whatever type of artwork you are trying to work on. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye! That's it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you feel inspired to make your own graffiti bubble letters. If you did like the video, please give us a like and subscribe if you want to get notified of future videos when we release them. And also don't forget to check out that description box. There's some good resources in there for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!